What's up, stream? We're back, baby.
We can start.
Alright, so the following is going to be my most glorious review of all things reviewy. I'll be going over Jane's future, what is this? Jane's future champions or something? Something or other. It's future champions. Jane's tournament, basically. So basically what I'm going to be looking to do in this review is less in-depth strategy and more just basic corrections. And talking kind of about what my group was looking at while we were watching these games and then when we went to play them to help give players a better understanding of what tournament prep looks like, or in this case, what watching a stream before you play them in a match looks like. Hopefully you guys can find this informative and or helpful, if not informative. Or both, actually. It'd be kind of an oxymoron to find one helpful. Okay, ignore me. Alright, at any rate, not for rambling, let's go ahead and start getting involved.
We don't need no high
bitrate issue should be fixed. Last time I tested, I had 0 drop frames, so we should be good today. I'm playing the bot at normal-ish volume, I think. You normally do it like 50.
And then we have Clarity 2 on blue team.
Okay, so going, I'm gonna keep the volume a little lower when I talk and then raise it when I'm not talking. I think is what I'm gonna do for this one. Okay, so going into this match, yeah, there. Okay, pause. Good enough. All right, so going into this match, we knew that we'd be facing the winner of this team. Most likely, we'd be facing the winner of this team. Sorry, we knew we'd be facing the winner of this team. We most likely thought it would be Clarity 2. No offense to Avidium, however I pronounce their name. No offense to these guys, but we just assumed Clarity's been together longer. They've got players we recognize more names of. Harb has been playing in the scene for like forever, so we thought they'd have a pretty significant advantage coming into this game. So, most of the prep that we did was looking specifically at Clarity 2 to see what they do. It's worth noting, before I go further into the review, that the team I was playing with, Underwater Squad, we had comprised the roster the day of the tournament. I think is when we the day of the tournament is when we solidified the roster of who was playing, and we had a hot 0 warm-up with 0 scrim time beforehand, and I think 4 out of the 6 players hadn't played Overwatch at all that day, right before our match, because we just got on right as it was supposed to be time. People had like school and work and stuff, so this was more or less us doing it live with very little preparation at all. So most of what we did as prep was mid-set or watching the stream while we waited for our matches.
A lot of names that if you've kind of hung around the...
So a few things that we noticed about Clarity 2 beforehand. We know that some of their players have the tendency to overextend, so that was something we were looking for preemptively, and that got exploited even more going into this match. We also noticed that they had Azuma playing instead of Troll. That's not the right color to be using. This is it. Okay, we noticed that they had Azuma playing main tank instead of Troll, which is different, obviously. That's not their normal main tank. We knew that that means that they would be less comfortable with their main tank, which would mean that they're more likely to be having players out of position more and less resources being put into the Reinhardt, most likely, if they were running a Rein. Those are the big things that we noticed going into this match, preemptively, before anything even started. We also noticed they had Odd, who, back when they were trying out, was one of their tryouts, I remember. It was him and one other guy. So, seeing Odd means that we have to adjust Odd's playstyles choices, and we have to adjust Azuma's playstyles, in addition to the normal playstyle of Clarity. So, some tweaks that we're preemptively looking at making. We know that Odd plays very aggressively. He's kind of an all-out type player, no really hesitation. So, we're expecting for him to do a lot of aggressive plays, trying to bubble early for charge, stuff like that. We know that Azuma's a more passive-ish main tank. He tends to be a little bit passive to begin with, and then when he sees an advantage, he likes to try to really pressure out that advantage. So most of the game plan that we had before we started watching this match against Clarity was that if we face Clarity, we'd play it slow, pick comfort, pick heroes, wait for them to overextend and punish them for the overextension. That was more or less our idea going into the match. Like I said, this was before we watched this set, though, so obviously, as I see things that we talked about, I'll bring it up, and we will talk about why we saw things and what we were looking for and how we addressed it to help prep for our match. Okay, so going Bastion on defense here is a very good pick. Everybody, or on attack rather. Going Bastion on attack is a very good pick. Almost everybody does this cheese forward hold, so walking out Bastion is pretty easy. Denies them a lot of their ability to do stuff. Clarity, we noticed had a, well, I'll rephrase that. Clarity had a bad job of juggling cart, which means they're forced to contest. Didn't ping pong appropriately, so they get punished really hard for it, which is what we see here. So that was a really good fight from red team coming out into it. Good job, red team. Anthony did it. Clarity with a bit of a misplay there, but not the biggest deal in the world. What we noticed from that fight in particular, if you were being like super careful and attentive, is that their tank synergy and their ping pong at the tank line was off, which we could look to exploit if needed. Okay, so this point is just posturing. No real team is doing anything important. Okay, so this is a bit of a scuffed engage. Okay, so
go
ahead.
This is one of the strategies that works by the element odd, who's on.
All right, watch the positioning of Clarity as they retake. Right, so we're not really paying attention to red team, like we said. No offense to red team, but we assumed you guys were gonna lose, so we're paying attention to blue team. So blue team takes the safe pathing, is fine. Then good target focus. Ultimate Web gets conked out of position. They manage to compensate and protect him. All of this so far is not true, or not what we were expecting to see, right? Like I said earlier at the start of the review, we were expecting to see Clarity splitting a lot, not be really playing together, and that's not what we're seeing so far. With the exception of the first fight. First fight, they were a little split, but that was more forced because of the matchup. But this particular fight, they played very well together.
Got 94% and still spamming away, but Clarity 2 was able to retake through their little rotation to the mini room. And we're going to have some ultimates coming online here. Most notably, we're going to have Harbor.
So red team goes full spam, which
what he's going to combo with it.
Sure,
Could be the Riptire here coming in. There's the grab.
Oh, odd. So, okay, the reason I said odd like that is Hard Blue walks up in the open in front of a D.Va and throws the grab at the D.Va. Which is not the play. The D.Va should be able to eat that grab literally 100% of the time, every single time, if the D.Va isn't completely AFK. So, although Amadian isn't actually the D.Va player for the roster, it's normally whatever off tank they have, so slightly more understandable. Definitely still a misplay there. Like, you can even see that he had his DM up for like right until he threw it, which really sketchy.
What can it find? It only finds Ultimate Web here, but 2 down is going to make this.
Okay, so like we talked about earlier, we watched for people to be out of position. Ultimate was one of those players, so we're watching for that to happen. We saw an example of that there, where Ulti was out of position, punished. Odd gets split and killed. They do a good job of crushing on the Zumba without the team really being able to help him because they're already down players. So again, just confirmation bias of what we already thought of people who can be looked to be exploiting because they play split. We're seeing more of here.
Stream's still live.
This is fine. This is just standard positioning. We're looking at how blue team retakes, which means they're just going to play together to cross the bridge. They engage split and then use grab instead of shatter first, which we assumed was more of, or sorry, I shouldn't say we. When I say we, I'm referring to the people who were playing for Underwater Squad in that tournament. We were watching this match together, so we is like the collective of those people who run another match, see myself, Icy, we're all sitting there talking about like, what they're doing. Well, we were also playing DM and just trying to stay warm. Okay, so really split engage from Clarity. Azuma just kind of has a unoptimal engage twice, so gets punished for it. And the rest of his team kind of just fails because they're all the
aggressive style of Zarya here. You know, his aggression almost mismatched with Red Rex, and as far as I'm aware, Harblu actually hasn't been playing.
Okay, so at this point, Harb's going for another flanker up. Hopefully, Amadian actually walk.
So maybe there's a little
he's not giving synergy. Okay, so hopefully, I'll notice it when he
and
puts it.
himself.
Okay, so can I turn down Tassel Light? Or can? Okay, because I'm gonna do. Okay, so going into this fight, we expect. Okay, knowing Clarity, they put all eggs in the Ultimate Weapon on Genji basket, and they expect Ultimate Weapon to carry them on Genji. So I expect them to heavily rely on their blade, looking primarily for nano blade combos. Harp does a good job of getting a fat grab before they can do anything, so this should be a way for Clarity. Clarity is a team that if you put them at a disadvantaged situation, rather than trying to force the fight with ults, they'll just take an L most of the time. So that's another thing we were noticing is that, they were in the situation where they maybe could have pulled off combo, but instead of trying to force it, they just took an L and went to the reset. Good fundamentals, but not necessarily the best thing to do consistently. Typically, no matter what you do, good or bad fundamentals, you always want to mix it up a little bit, just make it less, make it harder for the other team to scout you. Okay, so right here we see that they're setting up the nano blade. You can tell by just how hard he's like staring at the Genji that he's definitely going for it. Again, Clarity is a team that relies on their nano blades, so we were expecting that to come in. We're seeing as they were playing for nano blade there. Good job on the part of Ultima to get value out of the blade. Ultima does a very good job on Genji with its blades. Like, he is a very scary Genji to play against when he has a blade. So you really need to just rely on shutting him down before he gets it up, which is what we were talking about beforehand, was, hey, if they're on ulting on Genji, make sure we focus Genji and don't let him get value. He has some weird positioning stuff like that though, where he kind of gets caught in awkward situations a lot. Okay, they're playing for an EMP. Amadian's a really good player. He plays Sombra very well for the most part, so I expect to see him try to EMP the tanks here. He should EMP right here, actually. Yeah, I was going to say, he should, as soon as the Sombra declicks, he should definitely be looking to EMP here. We noticed that at this point, the EMP didn't really have a lot of follow-up, so we're going to look to see if that becomes a pattern or not, because if EMPing without follow-up becomes a pattern, that means that we don't have to react as strongly to EMPs, right? So for example, if their EMPs do not get follow-up for like the next 3 EMPs that he uses, then we know that we don't have to commit some more ults to be counter the EMP, which we can bring up mid-set if needed. So at this point, there comes a good EMP from the side. Avenium? Bottom, how you pronounce the name. They do a good job of getting an EMP in and just applying pressure early. Zuma commits deep with the Nano Winston. I'm pretty sure they Nano Winston because he was EMP'd and they didn't want him to die. I could be wrong though. Because like we said, this is another pattern we're looking for, right? We want to see if they Nano Blade every fight because we know that's what they normally do, but maybe with their new roster, with the Zuma, they're not doing that. Okay, so he gets EMP'd and he gets bursted. Okay, so that's why they Nano. Got it. Okay, so they go in, they Nano Azuma to get him value so he doesn't just die, and then he gets slept. So that is not disconfirmation, or it's not disconfirming our idea. That's not the right way to phrase it, but my brain's fried, so we're going with that. It doesn't disconfirm, doesn't disprove. That's the way. There we go. I got it, guys. Don't worry. It doesn't disprove our idea that they will primarily rely on nanoblades, since that one was only used to save the Winston. At this point, Clarity 2 chases, but they chase Split, which once again gives us the confirmation that their main tank isn't necessarily synergized with the rest of his team, and they're not necessarily following up with him, so we could look to punish that. Shatter gets an unlucky amount of nothing. Pretty unfortunate. Felty isn't playing with his support, which means, or sorry, the Lucio isn't playing with his Ana a lot, which means we can look for engages on the Ana for free. We'll make sure to take note of that and see if that becomes a pattern. Ultimate almost has another blade, so you can see he's playing aggressive trying to farm blade right now, so I would expect another nano blade combo coming in. Maybe they EMP first since he doesn't have it yet. Maybe they EMP nano blade. I know that's something they did in the past, so we'll see if they do that. The other team EMPs first, which is not what I want. It looked like a bit of waffling on the side of Clarity 2. Like they weren't really sure if they should EMP then nano blade or EMP nano Winston or EMP blade. Kind of not really. They kind of seemed unable to decide one way or the other on what they wanted to do and got punished because of that. Next fight, I definitely expect a Nano Blade engage. Maybe even Nano Blade EMP. I know that's something that they do if they feel that they're losing tempo, is they'll commit those 3 ults to guarantee win the fight to turn it. So again, we're just watching for Clarity to do stuff that we can make patterns of to see if we can exploit it. Azuma jumps get slept again. We note that if Azuma is going in, he goes in first by himself without a lot of follow-up. Exploited. Nano Blade without forcing out abilities, which means we can beat reactionarily and not have to be worried about forcing it, as long as we deal with Azuma. They didn't use EMP to clean up the fight yet. It means they have good ult economy to a degree, which would imply that they have an ult caller calling what to do and what not to do. I'd assume that's probably ult, probably Felty actually. I think Felty does a lot of their calling, so I'd assume that Felty was the one talking about it. A good EMP to cancel the Zarya. Split target focus and split engage. So again, another thing we were talking about where not a lot of follow-up to the EMP. That's 2 for 2 where he EMP'd and didn't get a lot of follow-up. So we'll be expecting that EMPs will not be getting a lot of value from them. So we could just play around it and play safe. Counter EMP that way. Hardblue with yet another questionable grab. Hardblue's play has been not the best. He's farming ult. I will say he's farming ults very quickly, but use of the ults is not the best. Good EMP. 32 once again trying to come out on the retake, not really setting tempo. Although the opposing Sombra did the EMP really early to counter that. Okay, so at this point it's just all one long stagger. Ultima Wep is doing a good job on the Doom Fist rather. The rest of his team is really just trying to follow up on his damage. Teams are doing a good job of in the fight pretty easily. Target focus seemed good in that. Nothing really too noticeable about target focus to really comment on. Seemed fine enough. Good enough to pass. And we'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit more. Okay, so at this point we're gonna be looking at what Clarity runs on attack. We already know what they run on defense first point. They run a Goats comp, so we can walk out with Bastion and kill them. Do what they run on attack. Looking like they're going to be doing a dive with Sombra Genji again. Okay, so this implies to us that they play Goats where Goats is necessary to play, and then when they don't play Goats, they're looking to play Sombra Genji, which I know fits with the style of idea that Clarity has as like a philosophy for the roster where they want to play around players' strengths. They put players on characters they are good at and look to capitalize on that. Ultima Up's a good Genji, so they'll be playing around Genji. Genji is better when you can Nano Blade, so they'll be playing around Nano Blade. So at this point, I'm expecting them to run a lot of Nano Genji plays for their match against us. And we're expecting them to also have split frontline and backline. That's so far what we're feeling. Harblue's trying to give all of us a seizure. Very nice of you, Harblu, thanks.
Especially with McCree's being so vulnerable to dive. Normally a composition of this variety is something that you would see with a Lucio. But because you do have these very long sightlines and you have the ability to position...
Okay, so... they're playing it very fast. These comps are really weird from... I don't really know what they're doing. Okay, so Clarity's running a dive. Maiden goes on a flank, so we'll have to watch for flank Sombra, so we'll make sure to see if that's a thing. Future, where she keeps doing it or not. The rest of the team is playing linearly down main, so we need to watch just for Sombra pressure by herself. Sombra can't really kill two backliners that easily, so we should be able to pretty punish her. She doesn't go for support, she goes on tanks, which would imply that they were looking for purple engage, or something along those lines. Which means that we need to prioritize protecting our tanks over prioritizing protecting the backline. Again, we're making sure that any of these things we're noticing, if they can become patterns that we see a lot of, then we make sure to take note of them so we can mention it if needed. Very fast. Very fast Nano from Clarity. Good job. Again, I expect Ultima probably to push forward in a second here and start farming Blade, because again, their win condition will be Nano Blade every time they have Nano Blade, so they'll be playing around that. Comp swap, okay. This is a really scuffed comp. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do here. They have Nano Winston to go in the back, which makes sense. Okay, so Nano Winston in the back makes sense. Just create space. I think they're playing Tank Buster. Yeah, Tank Buster. That's what it is. Okay, so they're gonna bash the Rhine purple and then Hanzo in at the same time. Just like hard give them. Don't let them have the ability to play the game, basically. Which can make sense. If they're gonna do that, it would have made more sense to swap to the Zen instead of sticking Lucio, because that way you have Discord as well. But regardless, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Definitely a play I would have. One thing I would say to Clarity, if anybody from Clarity is watching, is when you're playing against a team that you're not necessarily as scared of, a team that you should theoretically be beating pretty handily, and you know it's being streamed, and you know the opposing teams that you're about to play are watching, I would recommend running non-standardized compositions and or doing different play styles than you normally would play, and making an emphasis on doing that, that way you can't be scattered for free. Because if they continue to do the patterns that they did in this match to the next match, then like we're seeing right here, it's really easy to see what they're going to do. You know, like if they don't have a Genji, they will always handle the Winston. If they have a Genji with Blade, they will always handle Blade. Amadian tends to not use his EMP as an engage mechanism, and when he does, it doesn't get followable. Like all of that is stuff we noticed already, and if that continues on to the next match, all we need is one map, or half of a map, not necessarily even a full map, to confirm that that is still the case, and then we can just look to exploit it if needed. Which, we'll talk about more in our matchup, but it wasn't necessarily needed a lot of the time. But, again, a lot of our match, stuff we did in our match, we noticed, or knew going into ahead of time, from the playstyles of these players, and knew that we could exploit, and that's what we like to do when we face them. So at this point, just same old stuff. They don't really initiate the fight here. I don't know, it seems like they have a really hard time engaging with their composition. Like, even though their comp is designed to burst Rhine, they're not really engaging on the Rhine. They're kind of just chilling. And not really engaging into him with speed, not really doing anything. So again, we realize that they are not necessarily the most synergized group, because they're not really playing to their win conditions efficiently. This fight, they continue to take the fight because they know they can win. Cool, we expected that to happen. All this so far is just fine.
contributes to 4 eliminations to clean that up for the end of the second point. But to your point, also odd, that is actually the second of Harblu's gravitons.
Okay, so at this point, Clarity for the next fight is probably going to then Winston engage, I would assume, and then Diva Bomb late in the fight after the Rhine's dead or out of position. So they do a good job of focusing down the Rhine, or forcing the fight onto the Rhine. Winston jumps in aggressively, which is fine. I mean, not the worst thing in the world. Primaling there is not the play. Everybody who you could primal was beefy enough that they wouldn't die to Diva Bomb, and everybody who is squishy already had Trank. So nobody's gonna die to Diva Bomb there, so you just... Well, I mean, you get disrupts, so I guess it's worth, but a good team would punish you for that. Okay, so again, things we noticed from this first map in the matchup is that Clarity's front line and back line is desynced. They put all their resources into Nano Blades, and they don't have follow-up on EMP. So those are the 3 things that we noticed, particularly to watch for into this next match to see if it continues to be true. And if it is true, we'll look to exploit it in our match against them. Hey, what's up, Mystic?
Avium picks map, and Avium picks King's Row. What do you think of that?
I mean, this could be a good one here. I mean, Clarity too. They ran a Genji. They ran some dive. I mean, a lot of different ways.
And the defense. Now we are going to see Rhine, Zarya, and then we have the Lucio.
Why are you watching it?
And the Ana.
I'm explaining our thought process of things we were looking for to lead into the next match. And I can't review U4 until after this weekend, because we play them this weekend. Yo, Icy, thanks for the follow, dog. I'll do up to our match tonight, so I'll probably do this match, and then us versus Clarity. And then I'll review the stream of King doing his interview tomorrow. And then after we face U4 this weekend in Trials, I'll talk about U4 and what we're looking for going into U4 matches. Okay, so they go Goats, like we talked about, we expect them to go Goats on Goats maps. They push through Hotel, they're desynced, they're still desynced. Still desynced, hey, they're resynced, there we go. Should be playing the point now because they have a free point pressure. Why are you a Silk Tread sub, Icy? Honka us, the leaks. It's just in, boys. Icy to Gladiators, you heard it here first. Okay, so just a kind of weird play from Clarity. Again, not really playing aggressive with their front line. They don't really seem to know what to do with an advantage when they have it. They kind of just turtle together and hope the other team feeds, which fortunately for them, the other team is doing. But nonetheless, that's something we can look to exploit, is that they don't really know how to engage or how to follow up with advantages, or are not doing it. Again, this is probably, I'm sure there's numerous factors going into it for them, like playing with a new main tank, playing with a new off tank. I don't know how much scrim experience or scrim practice they had going into this match. I would assume it was a little bit at least, because I know Clarity is a team that likes to scrim a lot, so probably at least 4 to 6 hours at a minimum of scrims with these players, most likely.
First couple places to hold on this streets phase.
Coming into this next fight, we need to look to see, previously when they played Goats, they used Shatter when they had, or they used Grav first when they had Grav and Shatter. So that's another thing we'll be looking at, is if Odd farms his Grav before they engage, if they use Shatter or Grav first. And then based off that, we'll know their tendency.
Coming into the forefront, it will be a graviton surge from
okay, so they get grabbed, so they don't commit ults. Fine. They use Shatter before they get grabbed, which makes sense. Shatter Diva Bomb combo, fine. Okay. So right here, again, their backline's playing on cart, the rest of them are pushing forward. They're not really capitalizing on their advantage. They have 4 on cart right now, which is a complete waste of time because it doesn't move faster than if you have 3. So instead, they should have people playing forward building ults. The players who don't have ults should be, or the players who don't have ults should be forward. The players who do all have ults should be cart. Because the cap, regardless here, there's no way the other team gets back in time with a full 6, so you might as well be up farming. Now they have 0 people on cart when it could be moving during the one fight, and they commit ults to a fight they already won. So poor tempo control and use of aggression from the side of Clarity, so that's what we'll be looking at again, is to see if that continues to be a thing where they forget the card, or they have awkward positioning, or they stack cart, which is what we're seeing to be true here, where they have 6 on cart. Realistically speaking, nobody's really forward farming, they're all just kind of turtle on cart, chilling, minding their own business. Bubble is used, they nano the Rhine, they kite to deal with Tire, and they still end up dying. Lucky. Kite better to not die to Tower. Okay, so Ultimo up split from his team, which is something that we noticed and we're looking to punish. We saw that be true on the last map as well, so we'll continue to look for Ultimo to be split on bridge. Seems like he's desynced from the rest of the team as well. Although Felty also Felty and Altwap typically play together more, so we should expect for if one of them goes hyper aggressive or is out of position, the other one will probably be close. We also know that Felty's a bit of a red Lucia, so we should expect for him to be wall riding to do goofy stuff and to watch out and punish that.
As well as that sound barrier, Dan Twist gets bubbled and barriered at the very last.
What the hell? I mean, please. Okay, so despite that, Zuma shatters a shield, which is unlucky. He almost gets in the sweep pop, but doesn't quite. They commit Diva Bomb. Ow! How do you die to that? Alright, whatever. Ryan somehow dies to a Diva Bomb that landed on him. Camera angle is Monka. Yikes. Putting a lot of resources into their Zarya instead of into their Ryan would imply that they have more faith in Odd than Azuma and looking for him to carry. So if we shut that down, then that'll be another advantage for us going to the next match.
But against this Graviton surge coming in from Odd is going to be very difficult for ABM to hold.
Bit of a lobbed grab there, which, I mean, it's fine because the other team doesn't have a diva, so you can do that. Good job on them focusing down targets on cart. This is a good fight from Clarity, actually. They're really grouped together. They fall up on the grab, playing nice and tight. All to be expected so far. Okay, so on the attack from Clarity, we noticed that they don't really know what to do with the art. They really don't know how to push forward and get ult charge, and they are also split still. So those are the three things that we'll be looking for to continue being a trade on defense. We're also going to look at their defensive comp. They are playing a defensive dive, which means all you have to do is just play together and kill them as they come in, and you're fine. Or play goats and go point and kill them, or basically any other possible scenario where you just counter dive by just not playing into them. Ultimate is playing forward, trying to farm his blade. Their win condition is going to be a nano blade, basically. Watching to see if they nade aggressively and from where. They do nade aggressively, but it's from a bad angle during the rotation. Deanna's playing very aggressive. They ask to watch and see if she uses sleep willy-nilly, because if she does, that means she's a free kill. The tanks have very bad ping-ponging. Both of them stacked on the card at the same time, and both of them got low and forced to reset almost at the same time. Diva's lost mech because she kicked out. They hit a purple, but they have bubbles. Yeah, okay, so first point dive defense doesn't look super good from Clarity already. We see that they have a lot of chinks. Their tanks are kind of desync. Their DPS don't really get a lot of value, and their Ana plays in two aggressive positions where she isn't able to really pocket the rest of her team. So all of those are things we can be looking to exploit as we continue on to our fight against them. They swap back to pseudo goats. I guess not even really pseudo goats. They just get a Rhine, which doesn't really make sense. I mean, they're going for an EMP blade, which makes sense. So they stick that, but Odd should definitely just get on the Zarya and have a Median swap. Well, I guess they're playing a Median on the... Oh yeah, which I guess could work. I don't know. Weird composition choice here. I definitely don't think that getting rid of the blade in EMP was the right play, but at the same time, keeping it is also kind of scuffed. EMP blade comes in, they miss the Lucio. Could be big. Blade EMP does get follow-up this time, but it was an ult that was used to follow up with it, and it was their set plan. So, not disproving our original idea that EMPs don't get follow-up from them.
You know, and this is what they wanted to happen on first point. It just happened too slow, and unfortunately,
at this point, everything's pretty still, or pretty standard. We'd be expecting. Again, we're looking for certain players to get split from the group, be out of position. Ultimop's playing really aggressive still, trying to farm blade. That could look to be punished. As a matter of fact, that's something we do in our match on Rialto against them, is Majesty punishes Ultimop for being too aggressive and kills him. They trank the Grav when it gets purple, which means we can look to burn players and Grav fast, because they won't Grav, or they won't trank the Grav initially. Uses it reactionarily, which can punish that. Just lob a Grav, run into it in purple, and then burn it, if necessary. Oh, dude. Glad you can type again, good bump. Very good. Look at this. Like, this is what they should have been doing, or what Clarity should have been doing on their attack. Like, right now, like, Harb's up getting another Grav, the Diva's protecting Harb, the Rhine's farming Shatter, like, they're not just stacking 6 people on cart until it got to the end, right? Like, they're all playing aggressive, setting up things. Oh, I was about to complain that Divas shouldn't do that, where they just randomly throw a Diva Bomb at 500 HP, but when it gets 2 kills, then go for it.
His charge gets shut down, and Harblue trades back and forth, and this is slow.
Committing ults to a lost fight like that is definitely no bueno, so we'll be looking for them to waste ults. We'll also be looking for them to die to Diva Bombs. Confirmation Bias is performing according to plan, and they are doing a bunch of stuff we already expect them to do. Feels good, man. Okay, so at this point everything's pretty normal. Nothing really too crazy out of the side of Clarity. They finally swapped to a more realistic count. Seamus is hiding with Beat because they know they have EMP. Good job, Seamus, you're a genius. Showing why he's a genius and a good sport. Good job, Seamus, we love you. Clarity 2 is just playing for EMP. I don't know what Amadian is doing here. Like, you already have EMP just engaged. Like, he didn't even try. Oh my goodness. Okay, so again, with the whole EMP not getting follow up, Sombra showed where she was. She lost the element of surprise that you get from being invisible. She clearly communicated that she was trying to farm EMP to make an EMP play. She clearly communicated that she was going in with the EMP for the EMP play. EMPs are just not a worry at all coming out of Clarity side. Like, we shouldn't be stressed at all going into a match against them for EMPs. Just play like a decent player and you'll be able to counter it pretty easily. That's basically what we're seeing here.
That was absolutely great ult tracking. Like
again, also no follow up on the EMP because Beat, so they didn't even burst a target through the Beat. They just like kind of just EMP'd and said, okay, that didn't work. They swap back to Goats. They use Bubble early for charge like we talked about. Ultimo Up gets split by himself, punished. Thankfully he was a nano rally, which basically means he's unkillable. Again, we're also seeing that they don't devote resources to the Reinhardt. They devote it to other players instead, which again shows that they're not super reliant on their main tank, so we should be looking to hard abuse their main tank since he's not getting resources. A lot of this didn't end up mattering, like I said, when it came to our match, because we just exploited one or two things most of the time and got away with it. Like when we get to that match. At this point, again, Ultimo Up, super split, out of position by himself, again, no follow-up, again. Like, you know what I'm talking about, guys? Like, there's very clear patterns that we saw just from watching these maps that we could already go into our match against them and exploit, right? So that's literally all this is about, right? Like, this is showing you guys how we got ready for our match and like what we were noticing during our match that we calmed and then got ready to exploit when we played them. They put resources on the Rhine in this fight, which is cool, but they don't really have any follow-up. Like, they get a 6-man shadow and get 2 kills, which, I mean, okay, well, I guess it worked. It worked. Never mind, I take it back. Good job, Clay. Good fight. They put resources on the Rhine gets a fatty, and they follow up on it. 10 out of 10.
Looks like he's not gonna get his wish. Odd climbing up basically about 30 or 40%
coming into this next fight, Clarity's gonna be looking for a grab. We're gonna watch and see if Odd does any flanky thing or if he just plays standard and walks at him. That's something that can be communicated. You'll be surprised how many Zaryas literally just press bubble and then walk at your team to grab. It's like actually mind-boggling how many Zaryas think that's okay. Belty again with a Reddit Lucio play, like we talked about earlier, so we should be watching and punishing Reddit Lucio plays. Good job punishing the Ryan who gets caught out of position. So that was a bit of a different play than we normally see. They don't typically follow up on advantages like that. So that's something to note to see if they keep doing more of it. Odd got on the high ground, which is cool. Something he did a couple other times too, where he took the high ground when he could. So Odd likes to prioritize high ground when possible as a Zarya for sneaky grabs. He threw a grab at a D.Va again. Or threw a grab at a D.Va, I should say, which, like we talked about when Harb did it, is a big no-no and should be looked to be punished every single time. So that's another thing we can look to punish in the future if they do it again. Look for predictable gravitons. He literally threw it into the D.Va's mouth and was like, here, eat this, and then she was like, nah, I got you, B. Harb did that earlier too. I think Harb did it like 3 times the last map, and I think I've seen Odd do it like twice now, where they just like literally walk to the D.Va and throw it at him. Which, I mean, for those of you studying at home, that is not the play. Okay, so a good engagement. Wait, does Zuma play the flank there? I don't think Azuma played flank. I think he just played main, right? And one for Shatter. Again, this is another thing we're looking at is, did they play flanks? Do they play angles? Okay, so he does play flank Pog. So he's playing a flank preemptively, just getting ready to follow up. They should see the right. Okay, well, almost unlucky. Harb could have blocked that with self. That was a good follow-up. So, okay, so we're seeing that when they get shatters, they're starting to follow up on it more, which means that we need to be more careful about not getting shattered to grab, because they're starting to actually follow up on it. Whereas before, earlier in the map, they weren't following up, which means that they're probably getting more comfortable to zoom out, and they're getting more used to following up on his plays. So, now we'll be needing to save our defensive ults more for their CC ults, rather than playing aggressively with them, and we'll be looking to counter what they're doing with it. They get Grav, again, they kind of just put resources on him to keep him alive. Ultimo Up split by himself again, ends up dying.
gotta get rid of this last Lucio and the Diva. They're so incredibly frustrating. 20 seconds left now, and this payload still has
Lucio's just on the card. This is all fine.
So,
a bit of a weird engage, or sorry, a bit of a weird fight there. They had grabs, so they can't really do anything. So nothing really to note from that fight too much. They just all kind of die card. We do know that one or two other players got split again. Again, Ultimate by himself gets split and punished. Another thing we were really looking at. Then we didn't get the big Diva. How? What? How does a Bridget die to a Diva bomb? That's actually mind-boggling. Like, you literally have a shield. Okay, so at this point it's just target focus coming out outside. The blue team doing a good job of just clearing them out. Hey, they cap. Wait, no, they don't. They should cap. Okay. Harb is literally sitting inside of you guys with like 100 charge and nobody's shooting him. Dude, he's literally been hit. Okay, there we go. That's the first time he got swung on that entire fight, where he was sitting inside of the cart with 100 charge just zapping people. It's actually crazy, dude. No wonder Harb believes I got it, Zarya. If I could sit there with 100 charge and I could shot the entire fight, I'd probably be pretty good at it too. It's actually crazy. This is why Harb needs to be signed to Owl and get paid the big bucks. Because he is apparently has a cloak of invisibility around him while he's at 100 charge, so he just farms. Actually crazy. Okay, so a draw with 0 seconds basically means that Clarity wins this match. So at this point, we are, I'm pretty sure at this point we're already in lobby, so we don't even get to see the end of this map. But, nonetheless, this is our final seconds of preparation for, Clarity. See what they're doing.
So far, I would think if we were going to see Doomfist, we would have seen him come out already. However, in terms of damage and transcendence. So we'll have
not really doing anything too fancy.
Play this in order to take out the Goats competition.
Like, all of this isn't at all surprising. Okay, so once again, we see Clarity is running Goats, which we talked about they did last time. Last time they passed through Hotel, this time they're kind of unsure about what to do. They're waiting out purple, they're just chilling, they're doing a lot of stuff, they're not really sure what they're doing. Bridget splits to zone the Sombra, which we could look to exploit. So once again, Bridget splitting herself and going by herself. Ryan gets split. Bridget overextends the help. They see 9 with a numbers advantage. That's an oof and a half. Unlucky. Feels bad for Harb and C Boost. Unlucky for them. They're actually super unlucky. They were going to win that fight too. Really unlucky. Okay, so that was Clarity versus Harb's team and C Boost's team. Unfortunate. The key things that we were looking at going into this match versus them were the following. We were looking for players to overextend. We were looking for them to not have follow-up. And we were looking for them to be punishable for them doing dumb stuff. So then we went into our match with them, which is what we're going to see here. Right, boys, we get to go over our match too tonight. Let's go, baby. So, at this point, we're just chilling in lobby, getting the breeze. Okay, at this place, we see that their last guy isn't here, which is their flex support. At which point, we're like, oh wait, their flex support isn't here. And we get a frat little DQ win. And they were like, nah, we want to play it. We're like, bet. I'm like, alright, they can get a ringer, right? We're like, yeah, they can get a ringer. So like, okay. We're like, who are they getting as a ringer? And then King does this thing where he says something really stupid in chat, and we all tell King that he should probably have chat muted the entire time. They get a Zuma in. Okay, at this point, we say, hey, they're running double main tank. We're not sure what they're going to run, but it's going to be scuffed. And we can just look to punish them for running scuffed comps. This is basically our communication going into this match. Because anytime you see your opposing team running double main tank, you know they're going to be running something goofy. Kind of forced on you when you're forced to run double main tank, no flex for it.
This was what they wanted us to know. We are not responsible for Fortnite.
So, at this point, it's just waiting for 345, hit tab, see what they're running, and be like, oh, okay, they're doing that.
Every chance.
Because they're going to be forced onto a narrow hero pool, because Azuma is not a 4 player. Okay, so our preparation for this particular point is we know that they're probably going to spawn hold. I said, hey, if they spawn hold, go Bastion. And that was the extent of our comms. And then I see them, and I go, oh, hey, they're running close. We should go Bastion. And then King goes Bastion. And then the rest is history. Because apparently King has the best style of Bastion known to mankind. Where I sit there and look at him. Oh, I went Mercy. Okay, so here, I'll explain the thought process here, right? So I say, hey, they're playing close. Let's get a Bastion. So we get a Bastion. We're like, bet we have Bastion now. Then I was like, oh, King tends to play in situations where he really needs a pocket to get value on characters he isn't comfortable with, right? And obviously he's not comfortable on Bastion. So I said, I'll go Mercy and pocket the Bastion so that way Bastion gets value. And then Chrono was like, oh, well, if you have a Bastion, I'm ready to go Orisa. And we're like, got it. And that was why we played this. So no crazy idea. Basically more just like, I was like, hey, we should go Bastion. If we're running Bastion, I'll go Mercy and pocket him. I bet they won't be able to counter him because they don't have a flex support because they're running double main tank. You told him to Bastion and Orisa? Oh, you told him to Orisa. I said Bastion. I very clearly remember telling him to go Bastion. Because we had a conversation about whether or not to go Bastion, and he didn't swap Bastion. So I said, King, go Bastion. And he was like, oh, okay. And then you were like, go Orisa. Shut up, Bob. You definitely didn't say it. Alright, so at this point, King was like, do I swap? And we were like, nah. And he was like, I'm gonna set up on cart. And we were like, yeah. And then I was like, hey guys, you want to see something cool? Look at my cool little Mercy tech. And then I Mercy teched onto the high ground. But they changed camera, so you can't see that I Mercy teched onto the high ground. Yo, Miss Sandman, thank you for the follow. Okay, so at this point, I hard pocket King, and we have no idea how he doesn't die. I still don't understand how he doesn't die. But he doesn't die and he gets like a 5k, so it works. So at this point, I start going, oh, hey, they don't know how to counter Bastion. We should just keep playing Bastion. I didn't say that in voice, but that was my thought process. Was, oh, hey, they clearly can't counter Bastion when I'm just left-clicking him the whole time. So we should just keep running Bastion the whole time. We also see that Azuma's still on the Moira at this point. I'm pretty sure they swap up him over to Bridget in a second here. At that point, we're like, oh, they're just going to run him on Bridget for the rest of the night until they swap him out. So this is free as long as we don't throw. Just play together, shoot the same person, we'll be fine. King does King things, don't worry about him. He's popping off. We get hooked, which is unlucky. I think the yeah, okay. So our here was we're going to EMP Bongo Valk, and we'll just left-click King aggressively, or I'll right-click King, and King will left-click them. And we'll get the fattest amount of cleave damage known to mankind, and we'll just burn them. They touch point, or they don't touch point, and we cap. And I'm like, hey, don't use ults, because we already have point. And they're like, oh, JK, we're going to use ults. And I'm like, no, please. And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay. And then we use 3 ults when we capped for no reason, and I was a little salty. But we end up needing to use ults because our team feeds, and we punish them for feeding, and then we eventually win an hour later. Bip, thanks for the follow. My doggo. King was like, should I swap? And we were like, nah, because you're popping off. And we wanted to get him on an interview with Jane. We also, like I talked about in the last map too, or in the last set on this map, where I talked about we didn't want to show comps unless necessary, because, I mean, why? You know, like, there's no point. So we were playing comfort heroes that we all enjoyed playing. You know, it's just like, play what you want to play. I don't really care. Just pick your comfort heroes was the calm. And off of that, we just decided to keep playing stuff until it stopped working, basically. So no reason to swap comps because it's working. And if it's working, don't swap. Particularly when you have a Mercy pocketing Bastion who's just getting ult every single fight and cleaning them with like a 3k every single fight. So basically, my idea going into this match is King's a very skilled, or the way we as Underwater Squad played this as a whole was if King is on a carry hero, we pocket King. Because King's a very good mechanical player, and he will pop off if you put resources into him. So we put resources into King, and he popped off. If we weren't playing King on a carry hero, we put resources into Chrono, because Chrono popped off. And Chrono was popping off, so we put resources into Chrono, so we pop off. Basically, the idea was we just put resources into whichever player was popping off, and was on a carry hero, and then they just carried us a 1. So, like, right here, you see, we have Bongo on the ground. They killed Bongo. They can't kill my Valk, though, because I'm from the Skybox, and I'm left-clicking the rest of them, keeping alive. King literally sieges up in front of a Roadhog and kills him. Or almost kills him. He gets booped. But even there, like, we took a fight that we should definitely have lost, and almost won with it, which was pretty funny. King was like, oh, I should definitely swap now. And we're like, okay.
You know what? It worked longer than it should have, but it did.
And he was like, oh, wait, no, I take it back. That was the next fight. King next fight was like, no, I was right. It was this fight. Hey, can we watch Nepal where you go for DPS Bastion? No comment.
How did that even happen?
Okay. I have no idea how Majesty died. The Majesty died, so I just rezzed him. Because Mercy's a balanced character that has an ability. At this point, we're just playing Focus Cart, because King's on Pharah, which is basically a better Bastion. So he's just going to sit there and Dappity Zapper them as they come in. Majesty dies, but it's completely irrelevant, because as long as the rest of our team lives, we're fine. They get a fat EMP to counter the engage, which is great. We burn the Zarya, because the Zarya is ridiculously split from their team. The Hog splits himself with the Lucio, like we talked about, and then we just punish them and kill them. Literally, like I said earlier, when we were watching their match, like we noticed that Ultimate will overextends, Pelty will overextend to save him, and the rest of the team doesn't follow up with any of their engages. So based off of that, King just casually gave me 40% energy for no reason. Thanks, King. Based off of that, we were just looking to play slow and punish that. So as you see, we're just playing like a punish comp where we're just slowly playing card and forcing them to fight us. Because we know they don't play super aggressive stuff. Okay, this is funny. Watch King right here. King, I think, got literally every single ability to counter him in the game used on him at least twice, and still ended up getting value, which I think is the funniest play known to mankind. So coming into this fight, we're playing for Barrage. We almost had Barrage, so I'm like, hey, we'll nano Barrage. We're like, actually, I think it was Majesty was like, I was like Barrage, and Majesty was like nano Barrage. And we're like, okay. So going into, we were playing for a nano Barrage. It was really bad, dude. It's unlucky. I mean, honestly, I think I see it's just you just don't talk enough, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, you only, I think when we played against U4, you were only doing like 50% of the comms at least. Like, I don't know, you really get stepped it up. You gotta get at least 60% of our comms just being you. You know? I could be crazy, but like, I don't know. Okay, so King gets hacked as soon as he gets nanoed. King gets grabbed as soon as he gets nanoed. King gets hacked during the grab. Oh, no, I stand corrected. He goes for the barrage. He gets slept during the barrage. He gets hacked as soon as he gets out again. My poor man got grabbed, hacked twice, and slept trying to get a barrage off. Like, and he still gets kills with it. It wasn't, like, it's so stupid. Like, he gets 4 CC abilities put into him, and he still gets kills. Kid's insane. So glad he's on an academy, or not an academy roster. He's on the trials roster. If King doesn't make it into OWL by the time he's 18, I'll be super bad. Kids are actually insane. Okay, so really good play overall from us. Good job, team. Good job, guys. We all focus down. We make sure to left click King while everybody's using their resources onto King. Like, at that point, another thing is worth noting is look at how, notice King stayed alive during that, right? He got hacked, he got grabbed, he got slept, he got hacked again, and he didn't get to 1 HP during all of that. Which means that A, they weren't focusing him well enough, and B, if they were focusing, or one of two things I should say, they didn't focus him well enough, or if they did, they should have just swapped because he clearly wasn't dying. League boys died. Look at him. Dude, King's already been announced. Correct myself. He isn't on an academy team. He's on a trials team, and it's announced soon TM that he's on a trials team. Okay, so at this point, we have a scuffed engage. This third point from us was really bad. We kept trying to force this comp and it didn't work for really long, but we also didn't care because we were just rolling and smoking. So we were like, oh, whatever, just keep going for it. And we stuck on to it longer than necessary, and then we eventually swap and counter. But it took us a sizable amount of time for us to get around to actually swapping. And by a sizable amount of time, I mean it took us like the entirety of third phase to figure out that it wasn't working, we should swap. Like I said at the start of this review, we had like 0 scrim time together, and all of us, I think all but 2 players, hadn't played Overwatch at all that day when we started playing, so the comms were not necessarily the most crisp thing known to mankind. It picked up a lot against U4 when we really started trying, but until then, King is on an okay team. Yeah, you know, he's just an okay team. You know, they're not, I mean, I wouldn't like write home about King's team, but yeah, they're not bad. They're pretty good. Pretty good. Again, we see Nano Blade coming in to try to get value. We do a good job of shutting it down, like we talked about, because Nano Blade's their only win condition, so we just shut down Nano Blade. At this point, we're just like continuing a stagger fight, because why not? Stagger fights are good. Stagger fights are great when you don't get punished for taking stagger fights. Unfortunately, we get punished for taking a stagger fight, so we decided, oh hey, we should probably back him and not feed. I think at this point, King and I swap? I think, yeah. I debate sticking Mercy and just pocketing King on Doomfist, and then I decided that's a really dumb idea, and that I shouldn't do that, because I'd definitely be punished for that. Yeah, because, I mean, I wasn't really being punished for playing Mercy, and if you're not being punished for playing Mercy, a pocketed Doomfist is like the scariest thing on the planet, but... What? Okay. I was gonna say, both Summers literally just walked into each other. But I decided I'd probably get punished if I tried to pocket a Doom. So instead I decided to go Zen to counter the Nano Blade. I almost do. I think I hit like 86% when they finally Nano Blade. And I cry. Okay, so here they aggressively play with Primal. Good job, Clarity. It's a great engage for them. Bad job on us for positioning too aggressive. If I'm not mistaken, I think Majesty and I are in a bad spot and we don't end up healing each other and we die because of it, which, I mean, that's one of those things that if we played together, like, at all going into this, we'd be fine and we'd be more used to where we sit, but we're not sure where we're sitting. Is this semifinals? I think this was our semifinals match. I see. Was this our semifinals or this was quarterfinals? This was semis, right? Because quarters we smoked and it wasn't even on stream. That's the one where we bear ridged every fight.
Know that there are no support ultimates available. They don't need to commit the
Yeah, this is definitely final, semifinals. Okay, so at this point, we're just playing to try to farm up try to farm up strength for the blade, or get them to blade before it's the last fight and hopefully win. Third point is bad. We get, like, I think Snap overall has like a 40% capture rate on third, so we're not too stressed about capping third. We're more just trying to play our game and do our thing. We had a bunch of really split engages here, just awkward timings. It's hard to play dive when you don't have any practice together, so we weren't like syncing our dives well. We weren't coordinating on where to dive and when. And Clarity, to their credit, did a very good job of engaging on us before we could meander our way through our engage.
The answer here helped King build up to that meteor strike, but with only 15 seconds.
Okay, so that's good blade out of ulti. Like I said, I almost have Trank. I was trying so hard to farm it, I couldn't quite get it. I should have asked for heals earlier. If I had earlier in our stagger fights communicated that I need heals off of people and let them get and got the heals instead of having Majesty have heals, I would have had Trank for that blade. So it was definitely a misplay on my part.
That was Icy's Diva bomb, but it's still a very scrappy battle.
I swapped Tracer to get back faster, then I proceed to instantly get hacked and cry. Because heals Tracer, man. At this point, it's just a stagger, it doesn't really matter. Our exact comms, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was it doesn't matter, they won't get past first, which we get disproven on, but it was a close thing, so I stand by my words. Yeah, just unfortunate defense, or unfortunate attack from us on third. We should have been able to cap it, but we weren't able to. We decided to go goats, or quad tank rather. We decided to go quad tank because quad tank's good, and that's what the underwater squad used to play on this map when we were actually an underwater squad. We don't have like half the players in here weren't on the roster, but you know, whatever. We decided to go quad tank because quad tank's decent here. Og's good against the Bastion on high ground. We took him for free, and the rest of us just kind of chill. If I'm not mistaken, I think we get stuffed super hard. Okay, so they go Bastion, but they go Bastion. I don't know. Their Bastion doesn't get a lot of value because they don't really have anybody pushing cart. I see somebody's on cart. Chrono calls to go cart. We go cart. Bastion unsieges right as we go cart, so he gets no value, which is a little unfortunate. They get cart push, so we kind of just like say, okay, at this point it's a lost fight to stagger on cart and die in cart. Don't really do anything extra, just take us down cart as we go. They swap off the Bastion, which is definitely a misplay in my opinion. I'm assuming your regular roster, King I see in you. No, the regular roster was Kalyun, Icy, Pipamitsu. Those are the three players that were on the roster. King had been on the roster, but wasn't starting and left. And Majesty also wasn't on the roster. And Chrono, Majesty and Chrono were teammates on Dogma Nikita. And King used to be with us, like I said, but he left for a different offer to play as a starter for a playoffs team. So we decided to make it one last ride and come back together for this tournament for giggles. And it ended up working pretty well because, I mean, we won, you know? Anytime you can go together as a tournament and just win is pretty good. Also, what's up, Spartan? Dude, it's been a minute since I've seen you. Okay, so they go in with aggressive blade. I leave Majesty to die because I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna get yeeted, so I'm just gonna go cart. King wasn't starting, but whose decision was that? Yeah, no comment. So at this point, yeah, we just decided to dry fight cart because, you know, dry fighting cart is a good idea. We got past semis. We won the entire tournament without our full team. We just put a scuff team together, 0 practice, 0 warm up, showed up and won. Pretty fun. I don't know. I mean, that being said, practice is still very important, kids. Don't just not practice. The only reason we did it was because we couldn't practice. Like, if we had time to practice, we would have practiced. But King and myself both had tryouts for trials teams. Other players also had tryouts for trials teams, and all of us were really busy and couldn't make it. Yeah, I don't know. Ultima does indeed feed just a little bit there, which allows us to get a pretty solid retake and go back on cart. Enjoy my team for playoffs. Well, yeah, you guys got a super unlucky bracket. Like, dude, come on, Icy. I was trying to give the scene a good reputation. All right, no, we were gonna practice it all regardless, because, like we said, we all have better stuff to be doing with our time. But practice is important, kids. Don't just not practice. Don't pull issues, money crew. Don't practice. It's important that your team practices. The only reason we weren't punished for not practicing is because all of us were actively playing for other rosters, and all we did when we played our matches was just play comfort pick heroes and punish other teams for playing poor characters or outplayed them. Yeah, money could do. Honestly, I was subbing for an IM team, even the people that I can easily main plus. Dude, that's awesome. I'm glad to see you continuing. I remember the good old days back in open. Monk ass. Really glad to see that you're finding success. Majesty almost gets the value play, but the rest of us are just gods and counter dive, so he can't get value. Chrono gives his life for the rest of our team, which is fine. I see Diva Bombs here, which is a fatty. I may have called it in a bubble, which turned out to be wrong, but whatever, dude. That's all I gotta say. Was KJS, they didn't need practice synergy? Yeah, I mean, they had a bunch of their players just replay. Like, they already had synergy built, and then they just played really good characters. Like, I mean, okay, so I'll go into this very, very, very briefly, because I don't want to make it a huge topic for a rant. But, okay, so inside of Overwatch, mechanical skill and understanding how your teammates are going to play is, like, a huge part of playing the game. So, for our roster, we've all played together at one point or another. Like, King had been on our roster before. I teamed with Chrono before. I teamed with Majesty before. Majesty's teams with Icy and Peeves before. And King. You know, like, all of us have teamed together at one point or another. So we were all very comfortable with each other. So because of that, we didn't really stress about the comps what we were going to play. And we already knew more or less what the comp structure was. It was basically me doing very basic, hey, they should have these ults. Did you guys see them use anything? No. Okay, so they only have these ults. Okay. And then somebody would say, hey, I want to do this play. We say, okay. Or if nobody said anything, I'd be like, hey, let's do this super basic combo or this very basic plan. It was all super basic game plans, nothing very complex. It was us purely playing off mechanical ability and looking to punish other teams for making misplays. And just having a good time, honestly. Like, I think that we laughed more in our 4 hours of playing this tournament than we had in, like, months playing together as a roster. Like, we just had a super good time, just relax, chill, and play the game. Which is very important in Overwatch. That's... like, scrims are very important if you're a new team developing, and they're very important as a developed team as well. But it's a time and a place for everything, right? You don't want to go 24/7, 365 hard grind when you're still 6 months away from open or whatever. You know, it's like there's no reason to. You want to pace yourself, understand what you need to do and what you need to work on, and then actively apply that in practice. Like, while we were playing in our set here, from semifinals to finals, we talked about things we needed to change, and we changed it. You know, it's like, I don't know, we adapted as needed to fix stuff. Yeah, dude, I'm very happy with where I am right now, and super pleased to be playing with Byreek. They're a group of great gamers, and I look forward to playing with them. Hopefully we can make it through trials and into contenders. What do you mean, Pip-Pop? I'm super PMA. Come on, bro. Okay, so Peebs, we're going to retake with EMP. We're basically saying try to farm up Nano, get Nano for our Winston, and we'll retake with EMP, which is a pretty safe EMP for us. Peebs is a really good Sombra. He'll probably just, like, set up a flank and go in. They EMP us first, which is Monka S, but we get a better EMP and a bigger bomb, if I'm not mistaken. No, JK, we get a bigger King. I forgot King popped off in this fight. Okay, so we EMP to counter their EMP. Counter EMPing, typically not the play. That being said, when King pops off and the rest of us just pop off as well and don't really die, then it gets good. Like we talked about on the last one, or the last map where we watched Clarity's play, we noticed that their EMPs didn't get a lot of follow-up, so we weren't too scared about their EMP. If they didn't, it would have been a lot scarier. What was my view on Underwater Squad's Open Treaty? No comments. We had a good run. It was great. Almost all our players either got trials for trials teams or better, and got offers for the most part. For those players that aren't currently picked up, which is Bitbop, Chrono Dodo, Majesty, Icy, and Peebs, all 4 of those, or 5 of those people, aren't picked up on Trials rosters right now, and all of them should be picked up. They're all incredibly skilled gamers, and I would highly recommend any Trials roster that doesn't have them to actively seek to reconfirm or find them and bring them on. All super skilled gamers. Definitely all of them are going places. I know that failing Trials reoccurring, some of the Underwater Squad players are in talks about coming back, so we may see an Underwater Squad V2, boys. You never know. That being said, I highly doubt that will happen, because again, it's assuming all of us don't make it into contenders or trials again, which I'd be very surprised of, because as stated, all these players are super good and should be picked up. Very good roster, very developmental focused players. Same, honestly, Ultimaweb and Amidian also played on Underwater Squad for part of our play time together, and I would also recommend both of those players. Both of them are very good. All of the players that we worked with were good players. I have huge amounts of respect for all of them. They should all be brought onto trials teams, at least given a shot to play for trials teams. It's mind-boggling to me that rosters are about to lock and they're still not on teams. Like, even as subs, these players brought so much value. Like, during the course of us playing as a roster, a lot of the players were moved from starting to non-active positions, and all of them were super good. Even as subs, they provided a lot more value than I would have expected. I know Icy in particular was subbed out for like a week, and during that week he was very helpful on sub.
In answer to Chrono Dodo's and Nano, there we have it. 2 angry Winstons making hard eye contact.
This is all fine. We're just diva bombing. I'm pretty sure Icy gets a fatty here. Yeah. Gets the melee onto odd and gets a fat diva. I have no idea how I see. Yeah, this is a tournament hosted by a coach for players who hadn't competed inside of any higher end Overwatch. So you couldn't have competed in contenders basically in NA. So because of that, I'm now ineligible. King is now ineligible, and I'm pretty sure a few other players are going to be ineligible. But all of us are ineligible because we've technically competed in contenders now that we're on a contenders trials team. The brief rundown for how it works is there's open division. The top teams from open division go into contenders trials division. The top teams from contenders trials division advance to contenders. And then the lowest team from contenders get relegated from contenders into contenders trials. And then above contenders is Overwatch League. And then there's almost no third-party tournaments to speak of because Blizzard isn't a fan of them. But we have this one thanks to courtesy of Jane, the coach for Dallas Fuel. Very nice guy. Hosted this $1,000 tournament for third-party teams, which is really nice of him. Okay, so we finally get our EMP off. Big Pog. The call here was that we wanted to EMP fast because we wanted to deny Genji Blade, because again, we know that Clarity's win condition is their blades, so if we just focus the Genji before he does anything, we win. We didn't have the support ult to deny the blade either, so we really need to make sure we got value. No, we didn't make it into contender trials off this tournament. This was just a random third-party tournament. King and I both had previously received offers to join trials teams before this tournament, and then we joined the trials teams at the end of this tournament.
Very quick reset, which is going to put Clarity 2 on the back foot here.
That's fortune that we're still waiting to get. Yeah, thanks, Icy.
No, and a late stagger on
okay, I get the credit for this. I had no idea who was there. I just sped over. Actually, I think it was Icy. I think Icy was the one that called it. Icy was like, "Oh wait, Anna's being an idiot sitting over here," and I was like, "Oh really?" So I sped over and killed her.
Guaranteed that this is final fight, which means that Amadien has to hit a huge EMP, and it's going to be after followed.
So at this point, we know they have like 1,001 ultimates, so we just say go aggro, which is what we do. I make a play here that looks like I'm inting. But I am not inting. I want this to be very clear to you, stream, okay? If we look at it, I'm not inting. You may see me all the way on their spawn bridge, okay? It may look to the untrained observer like I am inting right here, right? Like, you may look at Calhoun and be like, Calhoun, what are you doing in their spawn? Why are you inting? Now, I will say to you, I am not inting. This was intentional. And no, it was not an intentional feed. This was intentional. What I meant to do was King is going in to use his Doomfist ult to kill people. So I meant to go in and boot people into the Doomfist ult so that he actually gets kills. That being said, that doesn't happen. I get EMP'd. So at that point, I say, oh, well, Bridget's going to try to counter King, so I'm just going to distract Bridget so that Bridget can't kill King. So it may look like I wasn't, but in reality, team, I'm actually a genius. Okay, so just always remember, I don't int, I'm just a genius. See? And it works, because King gets like 3 kills. So clearly, it was intentional and it was a great play. In case anybody was curious, intentional and a great play. Okay, we almost started this fight. King's too busy teabagging, and the rest of us are too busy joking about how I totally meant to do that play. And then at that point, we almost feed. King's, for some reason, decides to not go into the room and decides to instead to die to a Diva Bomb. And then the rest of us get a little bit panicked, and we say, hey, we should probably focus targets. And then Croto does a very good job of zoning the Genji so he doesn't get any value from his blade. And the rest of us just shoot the same thing we win. And on the other side, Clarity kind of forgot how to shoot the same target. It was pretty unlucky for them. I also get beat off here, which basically means they just have no chance of winning.
Oh, it looked like the reinforcements might have been there for Clarity to patrol. No anger any longer, no HP.
Yeah, so at this point, Clarity really can't do anything. They're just kind of scuffed. Like, there's no real chance of them winning. They're not going to really do anything. They're kind of just at this point where they're like, well, I guess we lose. Which is incredibly unfortunate for them.
Goodness, that is certainly.
Yo, what's up, Pizza? My favorite support who I let die on cooldown. Big fan. Okay, King's Row. Alright, they swap back in their flex supports. They no longer have double main tank. At this point we go, bet. They don't have double main tank, guys. We're gonna have to do something different. So our plan was, and I quote, what should we play here? And we said, I don't know. This is a Is this the only way to watch your game off VODs from casters? Yeah, basically. Overwatch doesn't have a replay system, so the only way to watch your VODs are to record them yourself or have someone in spectator recording overheads. Those are the 2 most common ways of watching VODs.
Got it to score fixed. Okay, health bars on.
It's rather annoying because, you know, I mean, you know me, I'd like to going over my actual VODs from, like, CS so I could, like, actually look at stuff, you know. Anyways. Okay. Oh yeah, we were being a little bit toxic here. I'm not going to go into it. Just be careful when you're signing contract, boys, because some people decide that they should have cuts to your wages, and you should not do that unless you're getting a very significant wage. Okay, and then they yell at us for typing in chat, which we cry about because we were enjoying memeing in chat. Memeing in chat is fun. Come on, guys. What's the point of having chat turned on if you can't meme, right? So frustrating. I mean, there's a reason Owl has /chat, you know? Like, they never show chat for good reasons, because all the pros are sitting there memeing. Having a good time. We're joking around. Or in our case, we're being extraordinarily toxic and having a good time. Okay, we had a long and hard discussion about what to play here. The short answer was, oh, we should just go Goats, because Goats is good here. And then King was like, should I go Doom? And we were like, yeah, you can go Doom. And we go, well, if we're going Doom, we should probably just go Dive. And then we're like, oh, well, if we're going Dive, King, you should play Carry Hero, and Peeb, you should play Carry Hero. And we're like, okay. And then we pick Carry Heroes. And then I go, wait a second. These guys ran defensive Dive last time we watched them. I should go Bridget, because Bridget's good against Dive. And that was basically the entire thought process going into our comp was, and that was basically the communication as well, was us basically saying, oh, we should play carries. Oh, I should counter what they're doing. And then if not mistaken, I believe King and Peep just proceed to carry and I just kill whatever comes in back. Oh, actually, I remember this. I pick Brig because it's good against Dive. And then I proceed to, or is this the next one? No, I think I actually do play with Majesty this one. There's one of these ones where I pick Bridge and then just leave Majesty to die and just go heal their sports. But I think this is the one where I actually bothered to play with Majesty. It's incredibly boring, nonetheless, but I did my job inside with Majesty, as much as it pained me. Okay, so this is fine. We're just forcing the D.Va back. We're just slowly but surely controlling them, right? Like, when you're playing against dives, you want to force them into a tight area where they have to come out of a select funnel to get engaged and whatnot. So we just do a good job of pushing them back a little bit. They use their abilities to reset. King's a feeder, which is very unfortunate. But, you know, sometimes King just feeds. All you can do about it. See, unlike me, where I intentionally do intelligent plays to compensate for my teammates and don't feed, King just feeds. Okay, well, there's a big difference, you know. I mean, we got to make this clear for the chat. Did not utilize his health pool for swords. You're not wrong. He did a very bad job of utilizing his HP. Rather unfortunate. He also LOS supports doing so, which is to his detriment. He didn't end up getting punished because we're bad players, but, you know, nonetheless. Majesty going off his beautiful little Anna. Former Goats player, by the way, in case you want to wear. Oh, this isn't the one where I leave Majesty to die. Okay, so at this point, I notice their supports are on low ground, so I go, what are these idiots doing? And I just walk at them as Bridget and just swing on them. And then the rest of us jump them, and they just kind of die. Unfortunately, I leave Majesty to die. I'm pretty sure he actually doesn't end up dying here, which sucks. But hey, we killed their entire team, so who cares? Yeah, exactly what Relore said in chat. Good job, Relore. Relore knows what's up. Clearly, it wasn't me feeding, it was just me being gigantic brain.
Despite King's best efforts.
Okay, so Jane thinks we lost, which is a good joke, because there's no way we're losing this fight. Like, we've got King, Icy, and Kelly alive. Like, this is definitely a one fight here for us. At this point, for some reason, their Winston decides to bait their D.Va, who decides to feed, so we just say, oh, they're feeding, and then we kill them. And D.Va lost her mech, then Winston goes, oh shoot, I let my D.Va die and baited her, so he jumps out, and we go, oh wait, we're Bridget, we can just stun you and kill you, which is what we do. And then they EMP us, and we're like, wow, that's not good. And they nano, and then they trank, and we're like, wow, that's really not good. And we go, hey, we should probably reset. This is definitely a lost fight. I believe that was Chrono who said that we should definitely reset. So Chrono was like, hey, we should get out. And I was like, that's a good idea. And then this fight is where the supports are on low ground, because they didn't have time to set up high ground, so we just entered their backline and killed them with Primal and Bridget, because Bridget and Primal are scary. So King does a good job of setting up a flank, Peep's doing a good job of applying pressure. Troll just presses Q. Before the fight starts? Not really sure why, but he presses Q. Happens. King and I go on the back line. King rotates and plays an angle. We D.Va bomb in, and I run at them and swing at them. Then we primal in, and they go oof and die. And they said, hey, it must be that Monday. Yeah, exactly right. Clarity's first point, which is really weird in general, we kind of just inted at them, and it eventually worked. That was basically our strategy going into this, was let's just run at them and play characters that one punch. We were like anime, and it will work. Just kidding, King actually doesn't like anime. He's a terrible human being. The rest of us do, because we're, you know, logical players. Wait, Icy, do you like anime? I think you like anime, right? I know Chrono doesn't watch anime, does he? Anyways, anime regardless. King decides to int, and we say, oh, we should probably help King. So King goes in and gets fat plays. Then we're like, oh, King's actually, the comms were King's throwing, don't save him, he's an idiot. And then King got 2 kills. I'm like, never mind, King's carrying, help him. No, you're not a weeb. I'm lucky. You should be a weeb. Join us in the weebdom. King ends up feeding anyways because he's a Bobo player, but it's okay. We still love King. Yeah, at this point, we're just cleaning up the fight. This is all pretty good from us. Good play from underwater squad. 10 out of 10. Would continue doing.
On that defense, they're not really going to have.
This is all fine, like I said.
Sorry, I read the numbers wrong. They're going to. Their blade.
Chrono sets up a play here. I'm pretty sure our play was we went on Nano Monkey before they can Nano Blade. I think we played this wrong if I'm not mistaken. Because I say we need to go before they Nano Blade us. Or EMP us, because I know they have both. Or sorry, I know they have EMP Blade. So I was like, hey, we should go before they do that. I'm pretty sure we... Oh, okay, so that's what happened. So Chrono goes to make a play, gets slept. We say oof. Then somebody ends on the side of the map. I forget who, but somebody, yeah, Ultimate randomly just flanks by himself and dies. So we were like, oh, we just win. Then we just Nano our wins and a win in. They EMP Diva us, but it really doesn't matter at that point because, like I said, their only win condition is really dead. So yeah. So like we talked about earlier, we know that the only way they follow up with anything is Blade, and since we killed Genji, we're like, oh, they don't have Blade, we just win this. Are you watching the finals after the semi? I am not, unfortunately. After we finish the semis, I'll be reviewing King doing his interview, critique his interviewing skills, and then once I'm done with that, that'll be it for the day. Monday or Tuesday? No, Monday. Either Sunday or Monday. One of those 2 days. I'll be streaming the final review. Because that's after we play them in Contenders Trials, because the team we face in finals is in Contenders Trials, so I can't stream that until after I face them. But after I face them, I'll be more than happy to review our match against them. Watch them all these. I'll watch just the point where you play Ryan, and I'm not gonna say anything. I'll just strictly commentate on what we're doing. How about that? Maybe not. No, okay, never mind. Watch your POV. Link me your POV right now in Discord, and I'll do it. Make sure you timestamp it.
What a reaction.
Critique his Ryan, dude. His Ryan's insane, alright. Icy could be a main tank right now. Low-key.
Honestly, both of the Stramatos, not my cup of tea.
My man just like instant and gets a 5k. It's hilarious. Okay, they ended me super hard. Majesty doesn't heal me because he hates me and I die. That's basically what happened so far here. But the rest of the team lives because Majesty doesn't hate them and heals them, so they're fine. I may have also communicated that I had rally and was going to rally so that I didn't need healing, and then it turned out I got hacked. So I'm not saying it was, my fault, because it's never my fault, obviously, but it may have been my fault. Chrono gets like super hard focus, but we just keep him alive and rally to keep everybody else alive. He gets a fat EMP to cancel whatever they're going to do. We kind of int a little bit, but it doesn't matter because their team's just like literally look at their team. Like the Diva's here, they're there. Like they're so split that it doesn't matter at all. Like yeah, they're just really split. So even if we're AFK, it doesn't matter. We called a stagger the Diva, or to let our Diva get the kill, and then King goes Yai and steals it, which is a little annoying, but that's King for you. King is the fan of the Yai eating. You feel like Tank would be fun? Oh boy, are you wrong. Tank is probably like one of the worst roles to play in Overwatch right now because there's like literally 50,000 CC heroes who constantly CC you. It's pretty great. A lot of not playing the game. I think in one fight alone tonight, our Diva got slept, bashed, hacked, EMP'd, slept, bashed. I think that was like one fight for our Diva. It was pretty fun. Still won the fight, didn't matter, but it was a really unfun fight for him. The rest of us had fine time. Okay, so Ultima gets a fatty blade, and our team... Wait, oh, that's right! Chrono feeds like a Mongoloid. I remember that. This is hilarious. Alright, we're gonna watch Chrono get rolled by Felty here, because this is actually amazing. Felty made, like, the biggest hero play I think I've ever seen in my entire lifetime. Like, he actually just claps on this. Oh, it was so beautiful. Makes me sad, or happy to remember it. So, Chrono has Primal. We call it be aggressive. Being aggressive is a good play, right, guys? Everybody agrees? Yeah, I agree. Okay, so he's going to be trying to be aggressive here. We get EMP'd. Chrono gets his Primal in his spawn because he's not EMP'd, right? So he's fine. He's doing his thing. He gets... Or he was EMP'd. I think right. Okay, so he hits Primal. Watch this. Watch. We're going to watch. Okay, he hits Primal, right? He goes to jump. Right there. Right there you see him jump. And you see Lucio here. He's about to boop. Ready for this? Boop! And what happens? Bye-bye Chrono. Gets booped off the map. Felty's a god, by the way. Actually insane player. I am super glad to see Felty succeeding in life. Very skilled guy. I know him for forever. Felty's a super great guy. Super helpful in the scene. Does a lot for Lucio players. Very good guy. Very glad to see him finding success. Okay, King's an idiot. That's all I gotta say about this fight. So, we sleep the Lucio. Called Lucio slept in the window. We say to King, Lucio slept in the window. Note how King is right here, right? Note how Lucio slept right here, right? Watch what doesn't happen. King, doing 360s, can't figure out what we're talking about. When the Lucio wakes up, then he goes. This guy's ignoring how you didn't get CC'd that hard. You only got CC'd 4 times. Come on, bro. There's only a little bit of CC for you. Okay, so King completely, basically what happened there was we told King, Lucius open window, kill him. And then King couldn't figure out which window we mean, even though there's literally only two windows. There's two windows on the entire third point, and he couldn't figure out which one we were talking about. So a little frustrating, but it's okay. We still love King. He was our favorite flex DPS in the game, obviously. Okay, we still love him. This is dumb from Troll. I don't know what he's doing here. So I think his thought was, I can get Nano, or I can get Primal fast enough. But we have Doomfist, Brig, Sombra, and Purple, so that's just not gonna happen. So King, or not King, Troll with a bit of an int there. It's pretty unlucky. Felty decides to go in. We called it Felty's being a Reddit Lucio, and we hacked Felty for being a Reddit Lucio, and we punish. Again, talking about what we talked about in the last time, where we just looked to punish them for overextending, which is there. King get hacked, and proceeds to scream, help, 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 for the next 5 minutes while we proceed to not help him at all. Winston jumps point by himself. We EMP the beat off. We burn the Winston. Lucius forced in the corner. We say Nano Icy because Icy's a god and is farming grounds like no one in his business. We just want him to get grab faster. Icy gets a fat grab. We clean the fat grab and we win. Good job, team. I just knocked my water over. Okay. Consider praising that. Dude, Chronos. Okay, so I'm not saying that Chrono got MVP because he told his stream that he was playing it. And the stream all voted for him. But there's a small chance that a lot of Chrono fans were in the stream. I'll just say that. Not hating on him, because Chrono definitely did pop off. There's a few different fights where Chrono really carried us. He did a very good job. Overall, Chrono's comms were very, very helpful, especially since I was, and I quote, too lazy to shot call. So I wasn't really calling that much. So Chrono and IC both did a great job of stepping up and calling a lot, which was really nice of them, since I wasn't feeling good and didn't want to do it. What did I say? Chrono definitely deserved it. He definitely did a very good job. He and King put in a lot of work. Same with me. Everybody on the roster besides me, honestly, put in a lot of work. I was definitely the weak link. I don't think I've said this on stream yet, but like I wasn't even going to play the whole tournament. We had a sub for me to play because I was supposed to be doing a VOD review halfway through this tournament, so I was going to ditch the team to go do a VOD review with my actual team. But fortunately for me, it was canceled, so I ended up playing the whole time. But like I said, everybody besides me put in a huge amount of work. Super great job. At this point, we call, oh shoot, they're coming up, and we go, oh shoot, we should move. So I abandon Chrono because I don't want to die, so I run away. Icy gets scuffed because we're all busy shooting and not healing, because you know we're good skilled healers who don't like healing. They wrap the full way. Okay, I get a little mad. I didn't realize they kept wrapping because I was busy healing somebody else, and I wasn't looking because I'm a bad player. So then I almost get out, but once again I don't get healed, so I cry. And I die because Ryan jumps and swings on me. You know, we're just gonna say that I totally meant to do that. totally didn't mean to feed there. Oh, that's right. I don't feed. Sorry, I don't feed. That I totally meant to bait their team into dying to my team. Yeah, there we go. I got it. Totally meant to bait their team into dying, killing my team. Okay, so Peeps does a good job of farming. The rest of our team just doesn't die, which is really good on them. They do a very good job of not dying. That was a full wrap thing.
And even though Clarity 2 are now
wrapping
up the ticks on point A.
What's that full wrap thing? What was the thing? Yeah, I think as far as I remember, it's always been there.
Exactly the kind of crossfire you were looking for. There's Chronodota right onto the point. They're not giving this one up yet.
Okay, so we re-engaged because I was like, hey, can you touch? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, so we touched. That was basically the extent of our first point. Our 95% of our comms right here is us screaming, don't C9, don't C9, don't C9. And then Chrono saying, don't worry, I've got point. And then all of us continuing to scream, don't C9, don't C9, don't C9. And then Chrono pops off and does a good job. Followed up by like round 1. And then King going, why did they solo grab me? I remember King being very frustrated by getting solo grabbed here. And then yeah, at this point we're just kind of chilling, minding our own business. Icy's on point, so again we're still screaming, don't C9, don't C9, don't C9. Like I said, like a solid 95% of our comms are just don't C9. I still have no idea how it works. Somehow, somehow Clarity just completely forgot what target focus was and just didn't shoot the same thing the whole time, and we just kind of lived and won. That was like, we should not have won that. We won that off pure mechanics and off Clarity not remembering how to target focus. If Clarity target focused at all, we would have been super screwed. But fortunately for us, they got freaked and didn't shoot, so we were Gucci.
We'll have to see what King can make of this.
Fantastic squad, and where to find them right on this point right here as King has swapped onto the a rally out from Ultimate Web. He does need to stay alive, can't go down early once
that's
again.
That's a nuke right there. He should have killed him. That's super unlucky. Chrono dies early. I'm pretty sure we lose this because we C9. I could be wrong. Again, this was the one. This was the one where we weren't screaming. The not C9. I'm pretty sure we C9. Watching this makes me want to play Overwatch, but I'm just not ready for. Oh, dude, it's so bad. Goats v Goats get like 60 FPS. It's actually hilarious. What's your opinion on Doomfist on the very last map? You're talking about when they put Speedily in on U4 in the finals? If it is, oh yeah, no comment until my next review. I'll DM you what I thought. Or if Icy wants, Icy can say in chat what he thought. Because Icy had a very interesting opinion when they subbed him in. Or was it King? It was either King or Icy had a very interesting opinion when they subbed him in. I had a good communication on what we were supposed to do. But again, I'm facing them in trials this weekend, so I can't say. Okay, so we lose first point because we're bad players. We should have held first point, but again, we're scrubs, so it didn't work. We have Nano. Okay, so we should be swapping, but I was like, I have Nano, and I got close spawn, so I'm not swapping. And I was like, I'm just gonna Nano Winston, Chrono go ham, and then King Int, and then use your ult. He's like, got it. And that was pretty much our plan. We go for it. They shatter us, but like, they shatter us when their entire team was in the middle of Africa.
You know what? Hammer doesn't really matter. So
it didn't really matter. Then we go in. King, you guys remember how before I said King got hacked and he screamed for everybody to pocket him? We literally couldn't talk because all we heard during this fight was King screaming at the top of his lungs, "Pocket me, pocket me, pocket me!" while he's in the grab. So that's basically the extent of our fight. And then we decided to leave because our 1-2 carry King died, so we can't win. So we decided, hey, we should probably leave. And then I get debated and die. Very unfortunate. At this point, we decided that we should probably get me off Ana and go back onto Lucio because Lucio Ana is better than Zan Ana when they're running an aggressive Ghost combat to you. So we decided to swap. Good job, team. 10 out of 10 gameplay. So we decided to swap. That's good for us. We swapped to a good comp. Our comp's fine against their comp. Okay, so Doom Sombra theoretically counters Goats. It particularly counters Goats when Majesty hits 6-mans and nades every fight, and King gets like a 3k every fight. When those two situations happen, you really just kind of win. But regardless, comp. But specifically against Goats, which we do counter in theory. Clarity doing a good job of finally playing the cart and being aggressive this time. They set up good zoning control. Maiden just gives the high ground for free with bubble. I don't really understand that, but yeah, I don't know. Okay, so again, their team's really split. Troll gets purple and super punished because he's hacked, he's purple, he can't do anything. We have a D-bomb in the back to zone him, so again, just punishing underwater, punishing Clarity for this positioning. Cheating a D.Va, so I just went sorry. Yeah, basically. That was basically Icy's comms for our finals match was, okay, I'm not doing anything on D.Va, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go Zarya, and then you gotta grab like every fight in week. Yeah, I go for a Reddit Lucio play, because I'm clearly the superior Reddit Lucio here, and then I'm pretty sure I end up dying. Oh no, Lucio, okay. Felty, every single time I went into that window to make a Reddit Lucio play, Felty went to the window and boot me, so super heads up play from Felty, also very annoying. But unfortunately they didn't ever decide to counter King, so King kind of just won the game. We get Grav, and they nano Ryan, so we know we're gonna die, so we just say not to ult at all, and that card, and then we just go next to the EMP. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we were just saying they drastically overuse ults, and to only watch for Shatter D.Va coming back out. We just like, EMP the Lucio, make sure to hit the Ryan with it too when we win, I think was the basic call. And then at this point, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we were really that stressed, we were just like, alright, whatever, like, King's Row 3rd is super hard to cap. We're very confident in holding King's Row 3rd, even without playing together. Like, we're not really stressed about it. Chrono gets a fat nano. Majesty hits a fat purple. I say we're winning this in speed, and then Chrono walked forward M1 and built Shatter in one fight, which is the efficient way of playing the fight, if you ask me. I say don't give these kids respect, play in their spawn. And then they say nah, don't C9. And I was like, alright, cool. And then we back up. And then I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, I go for a Lucio play again, and Lucio Felty boops me again, which is pretty annoying. And then I say, alright, let's go for Shatter here. So he's trying to farm up Shatter, they're playing for Bash Shatter. King goes too early with the Bash because we didn't have Shatter yet, so that's a bit of miscommunication on our end. Icy goes for a bomb. We go, oof, we should reset. And then Chrono hits a 3k Shatter, followed up by a 2k bomb. And then proceeds to spend the rest of the fight while we're all going, you're God, yelling to pocket me, pocket me. You may have noticed that there's a common theme in our team's comms where it was a lot of people yelling to pocket them. That's really honestly what just us is us just having good communication like that. You know? I mean, if it wasn't for the crisp, clean communication of people literally doing nothing in comms but screaming to pocket me or yelling lol, you know, yeah. Basically what won us the match, honestly, was us just yelling to pocket me.
And that was so beautifully.
A lot of pocket me I'm carrying being screamed.
If I was troll, I'd
Again, like when we played this, like I said, we had no practice going into it, so like we decided that we were just going to be chilling and have a fun time. So like even like right here, like when they like last fight when it looked like we were losing, we were still having a good time, we were still laughing. Like no matter what, we just kept a positive mental attitude. We were all nice and happy. We all kept playing it. You know, we were just like goofing around, laughing in maps. You know, we had like barrel rage and 3, 2, 1 entered in chat. You know, all that stuff. Just like a lot of just chilling, having a good time, screaming, yelling different stuff, you know, just being very loud and energetic, making sure that we kept up the comms and energy and just played it through. Which I would highly recommend for any team, regardless of what you're playing is. Always keep up your energy, always keep up with the comms. If you lose energy and lose comms, you're gonna lose maps. And don't take it too seriously. Like, a lot of people, like, everybody here was sweating super hard, and, like, until the finals, we weren't really sweating. Like, we were just chilling, having a good time. Like, I still was fully planning on leaving before the finals to go do a VOD review, and everybody else is just planning on playing with us up. Like, we weren't stressed at all. We were just having a good time, chilling, minding our own business, you know? It's like, the second you start taking things too seriously and start trying too hard, it's just not gonna go well. King does a good job here. He abuses Bridget, because Bridget is an abusable character. He gets big, beefy with the rally, and then he sprints, jumps over the cart with the bridge tech. He gets booped. King's like, I don't want to touch because I'm going to die. And we're like, don't be a chicken. We said something different, but I'm not going to repeat that here. So King goes over there and plays cart. Chrono runs in and gets purpled. We're just playing to try to stall until 0 time. Doesn't end up working because Majesty's a bad player and doesn't touch cart. JK, I love you, Majesty. Please sign him soon. Yeah, so lost fight for us. A little unlucky, but it's whatever. You can only do so much.
Majesty attempting to throw the grenade onto point in order to keep him alive and the rest.
Okay, so at this point, okay, so at this point, comms were a little bit breaking down because we're, we're a little bit meme right now. We were a little bit meme. We said they're definitely just gonna go goats, right? And we were like, yeah. And I was like, yo, King, deadass go Bastion. Or somebody else said Bastion. So it was either me saying deadass go Bastion or somebody else saying go Bastion. But basically the idea was we should just go Bastion. And then we spent until like 10 seconds debating what to play and where to play it because we kept changing what we wanted to play, and Chrono kept sitting in spawn trying to figure out what to play. It was pretty funny. So like we see here, 20 seconds, we finally decide what to play, and then we spend literally until the point, or until the doors unlock, arguing about where to play it. King wasn't sure if he was going to play high ground, if he was going to play low ground, if we were going to play high ground, if we were going to play low ground. It was a whole thing. We eventually decided that King's going to start in window without pocket, which is probably like the dumbest spot for Bastion to play, and he's just going to late peek. The rest was just play main, and hope that they don't sleep him. Fortunately for us, they sleep him literally every single time sleep is up, and then they also wake him up instantly after sleeping. So it wasn't working out.
For this in the last minute. King not even showing until this composition is scouted, and to their credit, it is. But they're gonna have to.
So King siege is up. He does the big shooty shoot, instantly gets slept. Thank God Felty's shooting him, so he wakes back up. These bubbles. So at this point, he's just shooting the Rhine because if they don't have a Rhine shield, they win. Which is basically our communication was just focus Rhine. Because if Goats doesn't have a Rhine shield, they kind of really can't do anything. I guess especially against a Bastion. Like we see here, like they don't have a Rhine shield, they just have to leave. Like they're just gonna get melted. So I get pinned from the middle of Narnia. I had no idea he was there. Nobody communicated he was there. I get pinned. I'm really mad, and I'm pretty sure at this point I'm saying you don't have an Ana, don't feed, thanks. And King's like, don't worry, I carry his Bastion. And he plays the same spot. Oh no, he drops. Okay, he drops because he don't let me in the window. Makes sense because they're running dive, which is a good pick. Felty just blind dashed to the window where he was. Felty overextends past Ryan shield, and Ryan walks at him without speed. So 10 out of 10 worked pretty well for us. Dude, how to get? I have no idea, dude. He just like randomly went there. Okay, this is when it got really scary. We were all really split. We weren't focusing targets. And did you tell him to drop? Oh, you told him to drop. Nice job, Icy. Okay, so we were really split. We weren't sure what's going on. I have two options. I can either keep Icy alive with Nano, or I can keep Chrono alive with Nano. Full disclosure, I thought if I give Icy Nano, he's gonna feed. I'm gonna give it to Chrono. So I could also keep what's his name? I could also keep Peep alive, but I said Peep wouldn't do anything, so I decided to give it to Chrono because Chrono was most important. That's not actually the reason why. I gave it to Chrono because Chrono had Shatter, or used Shatter, and was big and beefy. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure Icy would have done anyways. Okay, Icy would have done it if I gave him no. That's why I didn't give it to him. But it sounds funnier to say that I was going to give it to somebody else because I didn't trust him. Chrono gets huge value. Peep carries. At this point, Chrono gives us all a heart attack. because we're saying it's just Ryan, swing, 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 and he's not swinging. And we all had a heart attack. And then Chrono was like, oh, well, the only way he wins is if he shatters. And we're like, he didn't have shatter. Anyways, so turns out he didn't have shatter, but for all intents and purposes, couldn't have shatter. So we do a great job of first point holding. At this point, there's a very strong argument that we let King play Torb. King really wanted to play Torb. There's a very strong argument that we let King play Torb. We decided to not let King play Torb because we wanted to finish our speed run so we could submit it to Summer Games Done Quick and play onto the finals. Which didn't end up working out because we decided to choke a map, but whatever. I'm not mad. It's okay though, we still technically didn't drop a map the whole tournament. All we did was draw one. So, technically speaking, we didn't drop a map. That's all that matters. We almost did our speed run. Chrono was actually right. I mean, yeah, look, just because Chrono's right doesn't mean we say Chrono's right, alright? Chrono's right about a lot of stuff. That doesn't mean we say that he's right, okay? You means you get to tease him because he was technically right and technically wrong at the same time, so it's depending on how you look at it. Okay, I forget what we decided to play here, so I'm not going to comment on it until we pick it, so I'm going to go forward. Oh, okay, yeah. We decided to put carry heroes, because carry heroes are cool. We decided to play for Nano Blade, and then we're like, hey, you know what's really good with Nano Blade? Ryan Zarya, because Ryan Zarya are good characters. And I was like, oh, well, you know what's really good with Ryan Zarya? Lucio. And Majesty was like, oh, well, if we're running that, I guess I go Anna for the Nano Blades. And we're like, cool. And then Peep was like, I'm gonna go Widow. Well, actually, I was like, Peep, go Widow, because you're good with Widow. You should just play Widow and carry. He's like, got it. That was basically our strategizing coming into this. And then we were like, hey, they're playing goats, so we should go point and wait for them to feed. Our little comms at this point in time was, let's wait for them to feed. And then we play slow, and then we say, hey, look, this guy's feeding. I'm pretty sure we say that in like 3 seconds here. 3, 2, yeah. And they're like, hey, look, this guy's feeding. And we do the thing where we shoot the guy who's feeding. And then I'm like, guys, there's a bridge advancing into me. Please kill the bridge. Guys, the bridge feeding. Kill the bridge. And then we're all like, bridge is feeding, kill the bridge. And then we kill the bridge. And then we're like, guys, the Lucio's feeding. Kill the Lucio. And then we kill the Lucio. And then we kill the Lucio. And then we kill the Lucio. Alright, JK, we don't kill the Lucio. We end up just playing the point and focusing the objective. At this point, I'm screaming, we win this fight, don't rush. We win this, we don't rush. We win this, don't rush. Play point, play point, point, point. And that's basically the entirety of my comms, is just me yelling to play point. Which works great, because we force them to contest point 1 by 1 and walk into our Widow and die, because they don't play with their shield. Good job, team. Good job. Okay, so next up is our review of Icy's POV Reinhardt gameplay. Okay, let's go ahead and pause that. Let's go ahead and... Icy, you timestamped this, right? Correct, Icy? 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 Yeah, you timestamped it, Pog. Okay. Make sure that we have the comms muted. Okay, whew. Plus one. Don't want to leak the comms. Comms are very important, boys. Alright, okay. I apologize for the reference stream. I apologize for the scuffed frames. I apologize for the crappy crappy everything. This is Icy's stream, it's not mine. I apologize. I know it's terrible. Just bear with me. It's worth watching for Icy's Reinhardt play. This is pretty funny. Unmute comms? Come on. No. I am not unmuting comms on a VOD review. Comms will stay muted, thank you very much. Okay, so at this point, we're chilling like villains. I mean, you guys have seen the clip. Okay, so Icy makes a huge play here. He gets the make, which is absolutely insane. Super good play for Icy. The rest of us at this point, yeah. Okay, if you guys have seen the clip on Twitter where we're all yelling like a bunch of maniacs, that's basically all you're gonna see for this time. I'm not unmuting comms. No. Okay, the reason I'm not unmuting comms is because I don't want to unmute comms without having everybody's permission who played the match, and not everybody's on, so I can't ask them. Because it'd be impolite of me to say the unmute comms to let everybody hear the inside of the comms without full permission for everybody. I have Icy's permission to do his VOD of his gameplay, so I'm watching it, but I'm not going to do people's comms without their permission. Because I don't remember what was said, and it may or may not be compromising. Look, dude, never know. Alright, at any rate. So we're chilling like villains. Do comms? Alright, fine, I'll do comms. Okay, so... Wait, no, I can't. Okay, never mind. I'm going to stick with my original thought because I just thought of something. I'm not going to do comms because I don't want to jinx stuff for Friday. Icy hits a fast shatter. Good job, Icy. 10 out of 10 shatter. He instantly dies for it because he's a Bobo player. Be unlucky. It was like Village Sanctum, right? I think Sanctum was the next map. Which was... I need to find the one where you charge into their spawn. Dude, right? Icy's a fragger, dude. Icy's pretty good right now. Not gonna lie. You get some fat shatties. So Icy's chilling like villains. We're just playing together, focusing targets. Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Rulor. or linking the clip. For those of you curious, that is basically what comms sound like, is that clip. Dude, Icy, your stream is so scuffed, dog. What the heck? Alright, okay, so Icy takes the long way back to point because he likes to be a goober. So we eventually get point and chill. All of this is just us communicating what we want to go on. Let me go ahead and fast forward. I want to find the one where you in the Lucia. So this map was much more interesting for part of it. We're gonna watch just a very little bit. Oh wait, let's do. We're gonna watch a very little bit of this map. Okay, this right here. This is the play. This right here is about to be the play. So we're being hyper aggressive in this one, as you can clearly see. Does the Lucio. We say Lucio's scuffed. We say Lucio's dead, don't go, and then he ends up in the spawn. Good play from Icy. 10 out of 10. Really good job, Icy. Appreciate it. Okay, so Icy's amazing gameplay, regardless. Go ahead and 1 second. Let me pull up the other video real quick. We'll go ahead and do a review of King's interview, and that should be it.
Oh, I put it in your Discord. I'll post
That's
it
what
on the-
your Twitch username
Okay,
is?
we're gonna go ahead and turn this up so we can actually hear it, and we'll give
Yeah, you
a
modded, you
play-by-play on
Woo,
King's
awesome.
King's
So,
interview. Dude, Wallpaper Engine is lit. That is what I use for my background for those of you who want to know.
Guys, this
Definitely
link
would
is,
recommend people
I'm
to do that.
project manager
It is
with Broadcast
10 out of
GG,
10.
also a caster with
10 out of
them.
10 background, so you can
And
get.
Broadcast GG, we are a community of esports broadcasters
We don't care
that
about broadcast
in a community.
GG. Interview King, please.
Well,
Thank.
Click that title you and that.
Is
I mean,
your, is your,
Okay, let's go ahead and start our interview, our review of King's interview.
Welcome, hello.
Hello.
hello, King.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi.
Is
I mean-
your
Okay, so first critique right here. King obviously needs to pull the mic away from his mouth a little bit more. I've been saying this since I've known him. Mic too close to the face. Just gotta move it back.
your
Okay.
name like K1NG or is it actually King? We're just gonna.
It's called King, but it's
Okay, so at this point, King just needs to say that it's just King.
K1NG.
Pretty simple. Make sure that he just
we're gonna
clarifies
call you
it.
King. Well, first of all, good job. Congratulations on winning the tournament. I hope you had fun. You guys certainly played extremely well.
Yeah.
At this point, King should have mentioned, "Hey, by the way, we haven't practiced at all," because that would have been funnier. But he doesn't say it, so I'm a little mad.
I'm really nervous. Sorry. Holy
He also says, "I'm really nervous." That's fine to say.
crap.
I
Wait.
love that.
Holy crap is pretty funny.
Breathless.
I'll give it to him. He's pulling off the charming young youngster angle. It's
I
good.
mean,
We'll
nah,
take it.
man, because I am honestly still reeling from your Bastion plays. I have to. First question is going to be: was that a King play or was that an Underwater Squad play? Like, oh man, we're
Mhm.
gonna pull out this Bastion. It's gonna be so.
At this point, King should mention that it wasn't his idea. I'm pretty sure King says
so
right, 'cause he's a
when we
goober.
played, one of the things we said was pick whatever you want to play, and I
That's
picked
amazing.
Bastion.
That's amazing. I like one of the things that I loved about your Bastion play. Is
So
you kinda,
Jane
like,
proceeds to
broke the
compliment him
mold.
for his Bastion play, which
it's-
basically
it's
meant
pretty
King sits there and
obvious
ints,
that
and I
you
just
didn't
hold
look
left
at
thumb when
any
he stays
other,
alive.
Bastion player and try to emulate their play style. You have a unique Bastion play style that I've never seen in pro play, and it seemed to work. You know, one of the big problems
because
about
pro
Bastion
players
was
don't
that
sit still and
usually
get
it's
inted into.
so many resources invested into them that
fortunately,
everyone else can kind of just like set up.
We just
take
sat with
that
him and
control
just held
slowly,
left click on him so he
methodically
didn't die.
piece
So it
by
worked
Bastion.
great for
But the
King.
rest of your team wouldn't let that happen to you.
Yeah.
And you were here, you were there, you were constantly setting
Yeah,
back
that's-
up, and I
Jane
absolutely
right here.
loved it.
Good, I agree with this.
Yeah.
So you sound a little bit excited. Is this your so I was told that you're 15, is that correct?
I'm 14.
You're
barely recently. I
14.
turned
You're
14.
14.
Worth noting, King is actually 14. He turned 14 like a month ago. Super young.
Yeah.
Very talented.
So is
Very,
this your
very
first kind of major tournament experience? You were with them
Six
during
of
Open
my
Division? What's
how many
your-
times did I
what's
res
your
him
kinda,
on
like,
Horizon? I think I
background
res King like 6 times in a row on Horizon or
I played a
something
lot of Open
ridiculous.
Division. I played in season 3 of Open. I made top.
Okay, I don't know why
3
King
for a
brings
team
up
called
his bad
Pepsi
team.
OK, and then
Makes me cry.
Yeah.
and then-
Also, listening King right here explain how he left our roster and came back from Storm is probably the funniest thing I've ever
we
heard.
made playoffs, and then like kind of failed after that, and then I joined this team,
Also worth noting, King's failed after playoffs because I knocked him out of playoffs. Just throwing it out there.
and then I kind of left it,
Completely
and then
clap those cheeks.
as kind of like a last ride, we were gonna play in this tournament, and yeah,
As
And then we
one
played
last
this-
ride, you win the tournament.
yeah, because some of us
Right.
got picked up in crap, so we couldn't really make a part 2, but of the
Aw.
team.
So 14, but are you looking to join a contenders team, or are you just kind of happy to play in the open tournaments, or are you kind of on your path to pro? Are you looking for a contenders team?
Later, Bubba.
I'm on my path to pro.
Okay, so
I'm
this
not-
is really
I don't know if
awkward.
it was-
King's on a trials team, but the trials team hasn't been announced, so King can't say that he's on a trials team. So this is basically him trying to skirt around saying that, yes, I'm on a trials team, but I can't say much.
whatever. I mean, I'm on a trials team already, but like.
I don't think technically
kinda
King was
just
even
played
supposed to
as
say that he's on the team
as
yet,
a,
so he's
as
a
a
little
Rast
scuffed.
Glide, but I'm on the path to pro. Hopefully to Al.
Which trials team are you playing with?
I'm not supposed to say it, but I'm not supposed to.
Ooh.
Shh. Come on, Jane. You
Ooh.
can't be tempting this young
hey.
man to the dark side. What are you doing?
I'm pretty sure his
I'm
roster announcement
sorry,
comes
I
out
wanted
soon,
to tempt
TM,
you,
like
but
tomorrow.
it's
so
absolutely fantastic.
everybody
to
should
hear
know
that you have
tomorrow
been
whose
picked
team
up.
he's on.
Certainly
Yeah.
deserving from what I can tell.
Good job from
It's
King.
the-
Alright, we're doing this.
Because I feel like I love.
Oh, King also. Okay, so I
Fair
can
up,
finish
but-
with this. So basically, good interview, King. King's a good guy. Good job. Once again, to reiterate, Majesty, Chrono Dota, Icy, Pipamitsu. What am I missing? Oh, and Bitpop are all LFT, all not in trials. I know roster has probably already locked, but consider picking them up. They're great guys. Make sure to get them next week. Good players. If nothing else, they make great bench warmers. Same thing for a lot of the guys on Underwater Squad, or same thing for all the guys on Clarity. All good gamers. All highly would recommend all of them. As for the stream today, that is going to do it for now, boys. Thank you guys for tuning in. It was great having you as always. Either Sunday night or Monday, I will be doing a live review of our final matches in Jane's tournament, and today's Wednesday, so probably Thursday and Friday I might do a short stream one of those days with some just general reviews of some World Cup games or something. Check out the Twitter for updates. I will always be tweeting on there when I go live. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for supporting me. It's great. I love you guys all. Have a great night.